Hello there, my name's Vince from My Mate Vince, and here we have a really interesting and strange fault. So we have one of these Sega Mega Drives, or Genesis if you're not from the UK, Flashback. So it's a system that was brought out many years later, and it's got a load of built-in games, yet you can still play your cartridges as well. And it's very kindly sent in by my mate Dave, and he says here that he's got a Mega Drive Mini. This one could be interesting. The console itself is in good condition and initially works. It powers on fine and you can select any of the games that are installed. However, sooner or later it will freeze up and has to be reset. It's unusable in this state. I thought it could be overheating, so I put a heatsink on the main chip and it made no difference and didn't operate for longer than before. I think this means there is another problem with it. Now, I started playing Altered Beast, and it played up on me, and then I went to Psycho Fox. Couldn't believe how hard that game was. I played that loads as a kid, and that froze up on me, and then I thought, I wonder, is it a timing issue? So I've got my timer here, and it's so interesting. As soon as it gets to 10 minutes, it freezes up. Now you can see I've put a cartridge in, and yet it's frozen up. This is exactly what happens. Look, everything will be unresponsive. Even if I hit reset here, menu, can you see here? Nothing's happening. Yet it's not overheating, because as soon as I turn it off and on again, it will be perfect and it will go 10 minutes again. So watch this. I'm going to turn it off. Let's do one of the normal games on the inside. 1 second. There we go. Now, it's as soon as I turn it on. So, on, start. Alex Kid here, and we'll let it start playing. And after 10 minutes, it will lock itself up. Now, I've had a look online. There we go. I've had a look online. Sorry, is this a demo now? Right, we'll just leave the demo play, but it's the same thing whether you're playing or leaving the demo playing. Now, I've had a look online, and quite a few people have said that they've tried to do this firmware and stuff, and none of that makes a difference. People are thinking it's a hardware issue, which is really interesting, because you would think it was a software issue. I'm going to start recording now, just in case it happens earlier, but you can see it's still working fine, coming up to 8.5 minutes. What I would like to see is, I would like to see if we have, it might not be quick enough to respond, but I would like to see if it suddenly drops to 0 amps as it crashes, because I've never seen that there. But the amp draw seems normal. It's very low, you know, around about 200 milliamps at 5 volts. Right, we should have 30 seconds to go. I'm going to start watching this like a hawk here. Should be any second now. There you go. It didn't drop. There you go. Can you see there? 10 minutes and 6 seconds. I probably didn't stop it dead on. And there you go. Can you see now? It's gone. I didn't touch anything here. It's gone. Menu reset. Nothing's happening. My controller has turned itself off, but look, there's nothing happening here. Why? What is it? You know what I'm wondering? Is there some kind of security feature on this where it needs to keep looking at something every 10 minutes, and if it's not there, it freezes up the game? What else could it be? This thing does have a rewind feature, like rewind here, where if you die, you can rewind it. I haven't actually tried it. In fact, let me try that. It has a rewind feature where if you die, I think it goes 6 seconds back. Or even if you don't die, I think it goes 6 seconds back. So I was wondering, initially, was it something to do with that, where some storage on the inside is getting full and it takes 10 minutes to fill it, and then it needs to go back to 0 to start counting up to 10 minutes again because of the rewind feature? Could it be something like that? Let me just go on to this. I was playing this earlier. Isn't it so interesting though? Right, so let's just do a little bit of this and then hit rewind and see if that's working. Right, okay, now rewind. Yeah, look there. Oh, so it's definitely more than 6 seconds. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to fix it, but I'm going to have a good look on the inside and we'll see what's happening. see if there's anything obvious. Maybe there's going to be some chip or something where one of the legs is not soldered properly. I think it's some security thing, but I think this is going to be one more for the comment section, and then I think I might be able to get it on a revisit video. Right, I see must be a screw under here and under the feet as well. So we've got 5 screws to undo, and then we can have a nice close look at the board to see if there's anything obvious on there. Oh, it's an Argos thing. Imported by Argos. Didn't realise that. We also have a separate little board for the controller ports and a separate little board for the on and off switch and the reset menu button. Let's have a look at the board here. Can we see anything obvious? So we have some sort of reset button here. But remember, it's dead on 10 minutes, near enough. So if that was half broken in there and it was making and breaking a contact, then it wouldn't be dead on 10 minutes all the time. Some chips have no markings on at all. So I think what we need to do is zoom right in, and I think we're going to have to go across the legs of the chips. This one's BGA, so that doesn't help. What's this one here? I'll take these off. So we've got legs here to look at. BGA, BGA. I mean, I could try a reflow. Now, is there any crystal anywhere? Here. But if it was a crystal, you'd think it would either work or not work. Why is it going off after 10 minutes? I think it's one of those ones where maybe a general reflow might actually fix it, but it would be nice if we could find something which is a leg which is not on properly. Right, okay, let's go across different ones. Now I'm going to do this under the microscope because then I can really see what's going on. We want to see what would be really nice is if there was a leg that was loose. Do you like money off? Yes, of course you do. Well, check out today's sponsor, PCBWay. Between now, the 28th of November, and the 31st of December 2025, so don't hang around, you can get big savings. They have a big Christmas sale with up to 50% off. And you can upgrade to purple, matte black and pink solder mask for free. Yippee! They also have free Christmas coupons. And up to 50% off 3D printing and CNC machining. Also check out their special sales in their PCBWay store. So as always, a massive thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring the My Mate Vince channel. PCBWay links will be in the description down below. Now let's get back to the video. And I'm just going to take the board out as well. So this is going to be underneath the main chip here. So does anything not look right? So what I do now is a nice close visual inspection of everything, and then I go across with my tweezers and check the legs of all the chips that have legs to see if any of them are loose. Everything just looks perfect. I mean, maybe one of the balls or something is not connecting onto the chip. It's obviously a timing, some sort of timing issue. Maybe what I could do is I could see, because some of the chips are labelled up, and maybe I could go online and see what the markings are. Annoyingly, that's got no marking on. I mean, that has, and that might say it's some sort of security. In which case I might be able to go from there. I don't really know what else I've got to go on. Because if there was a ball underneath the BGA not work, well, mind you, maybe this needs to communicate with the BGA, and if the ball here, under here somewhere, is not connected properly, then that would, it's not going to be communicating. All the games are there, so I believe that the memory is going to be okay. Right, leave it with me for a bit. I've really got very few chips to go on. There's no point in looking at this one, or this one. So the only one that I've got is... I've only got one to look at, and that's this one here. Let me see what that is. Right, it's an EPROM or EEPROM. So, electronically erasable, programmable, read-only memory. I mean, it could be something to do with that. Couldn't it? It could be something to do with that. So what might be interesting is if we take it off, and then if the fault stays the same, I know it's nothing to do with that chip. It just helps maybe eliminate something. I really don't know where to even begin on this fault because it's just so strange. So that is exactly what I do. Low melt solder to the rescue. That way then I'm not applying loads of heat to it, wiping whatever memory it has got. So I am now going to bring it back into the other room. Let's see if it boots up. Let's see if anything behaves differently. Right, let's see what happens now when I turn it on. Comes on there. Is it actually going to load anything up? Yes, it is. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. Right, I really wasn't expecting that. Maybe it's for the controller. The controller doesn't seem to be working. Let me just reset this. Apologies, doorbell went. Yeah, controller's not doing anything. I've turned it on and off and it's still not doing anything. So that chip is to do with the controller side of things. Do you know what I might do? I might try to plug in a wired controller, get a game started, see if it still turns off after 10 minutes because we're adding knowledge to what it could be in case there's something with the controller side of things where it needs to check for the controller every 10 minutes. That's knocking this out. Okay, I've got a controller plugged in and you can see now that it's moving around the place. So I'm going to pick a game, see if it frees this up. What's also interesting is when you put in a cartridge, it says loading game, and now look, I've unplugged the cartridge but I haven't turned this off. I unplugged it when it was still live and you can see Sensible Soccer must be loaded onto the actual chips themselves because it's unplugged now and yet it's there. Right, I've been playing Golden Axe. I loved this game so much as a kid. It's still great now. 7 minutes we're up to now, but yet I think this was already on for a good few minutes beforehand. Amazing. As soon as I said that, it crashed just then. So there you go. It's still crashing. It's still crashing after, I presume, around 10 minutes. So it's not that chip there. I'm going to hit this little reset button just here. See what happens. No, let me hold it down. No. Now, does anything feel abnormally warm? I'd love to know what's causing this. No, there's just, there's a little bit of heat on that big chip, but you'd expect that. What on earth would be causing this? Online they're saying it's not software, but if it's happening after 10 minutes, it seems unlikely that it's going to be hardware, does it not? I think it's some weird security thing, I think maybe every 10 minutes it checks for some sort of security to see if it's, I don't mean this, but the Mega Drive originally. Did it kind of every 10 minutes poll something to see if the game's still in here? On a Mega Drive, I wonder if you put the game... No, it was reading from the cartridge, though. I'm trying to think, would this company care about hacking? I would say probably not. That was interesting. So what did I do there that made it do that? So I rub my paws all over the board, more and more and more and more and more, and eventually I find there is resistors and capacitors on the back that I only have to tap with my finger to get the game to completely freeze, which is what it's doing after 10 minutes. Let me show you. So I'm going to zoom right in. I'm going to put the volume up on the TV so you can hear it. Right, the one I'm talking about is just here, this one here. And if I just get my finger, I'll use my other hand and just tap it. There. I wonder, is that normal or not? And everything seizes up. Maybe we could take that capacitor out and then see if it still goes wrong after 10 minutes. But why would a capacitor, what would happen? Why is it after 10 minutes? That makes no sense. Ready? Just barely tapping it. There. Let's go over to the mat and see if we can find some sort of short or something on it. So initially it was when I went across here, this area here, that it was doing it. But if you have a look, that's the opposite side to here. Now obviously you're not supposed to be putting your paws all over the board, but it doesn't take much to knock that one out, and I don't know if that's normal. Obviously if I had a working one of these, then I would do the same on that one and see. But it's this one here, which I'm assuming is a capacitor, unless there's some sort of inductor. Now it is an actual capacitor, so what I do is I take it out of circuit just to see if it makes any difference. But I want to put the EPROM back in circuit because we know that hasn't made a difference. That's to do with the controller. Now I know this isn't linked to the 10-minute thing, but the very fact of just tapping it freezes up the system. Maybe there's something along the line somewhere which is oversensitive, and if I can pinpoint what that is, then we might be closer to finding what the fault is. Okay, now let's turn it on. Hopefully the controller should work now because I've got that chip back in. Yep, controller works again. Right, okay, so finger on that area. Ooh! Hello. Did it again. Right, okay. Did it again. It's not as sensitive, but I think that's just because my finger... Well, mind you, it looked like they were in parallel, so I... surely if I was to tap the resistor next to it, it would be the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. Anyway, on the other side of this, there is what looks like a power supply, some kind of voltage regulator with a big inductor above it. And the voltage regulator next to it, the neighbour, is also the same number. So the chip's got the same number on it, and the inductor has the same number as well. So just in case, because this is linked, these sensitive capacitors and resistors are linked to the power supply on the other side, I'm going to swap them over. So the right neighbour is now going to be the left neighbour, and the left neighbour is going to be the right neighbour on the voltage regulator and the power supply. I'm not saying it is a voltage regulator. I haven't looked up what these chips are. I'm assuming these are power supplies here. But anyway, I'm going to swap them over and we'll see if any fault changes. Will it go off after 5 minutes? Will it last 20 minutes? Will it go on forever? Will the games not load? I'm swapping them over to see if anything's any different. Right, okay, turn on. Right, so that's working. And that's working. Let's see if we tap those resistors and capacitors, will it go off? Yeah. It's annoying, but you know what? I am putting my paws all over it. It's not going off
if I don't touch the board, and you're not supposed to be touching the board because I'm going across a power supply and my finger's causing different resistances and stuff. So I'm chasing this fault thinking it might be linked. But what really has this got to do with the 10-minute fault? So I go back to thinking about this rewind feature. Now it says in the instructions it rewinds for 7 seconds, but I've seen it rewind much longer than that. So let's look into the rewind feature. Look, it says here, rewind. Press the button to rewind gameplay by 7 seconds. But we know there you could rewind it much more than 7 seconds. So I'm going to... I know I should be just doing one thing at a time. Let me actually play it. And let's see if I can rewind more than 7 seconds. Right, I'm just going to go here so I don't die. And I'm just going to do it for 10 seconds and see if I can rewind more than that. Right, that's more than 7 seconds. Now let's see. Rewind. And there we go, we know that's more than 7 seconds. Oh, but then it did go to there. So that's already strange. The instructions say 7 seconds, and there it looked to be about 15 seconds or so. Anyway, at this moment in time, I'm still running another experiment to see whether it's going to cut off at 10 minutes and 6 seconds. It always cuts off, I've worked it out, 10 minutes and 6 seconds. So you turn the console off and then you do start on the timer, turn the console on, 10 minutes 6 seconds, it will freeze no matter what game you put on, no matter whether it's a built-in game or a cartridge. It will always fail after 10 minutes 6 seconds. So anyway, let's just I'm doing a little bit more experimentation with this rewind thing. Let's pick up the video in another minute or so. I just keep doing loads of jumps in time with 1 second so I can time how many seconds it's gone back, and it definitely goes back way more than 7 seconds. Really don't know. Anyway, we're at 9 minutes 16 now, so let's put this here and I'll rewind and we'll see what it does. I'll start at 50 and rewind. Let's see, is it going to crash? Should be crashing in 2 seconds, and it crashes. 10:06 and it crashes even though I'm rewinding here. And I've turned that other thing off there. So 10 minutes 6 seconds it always crashes. It's so strange, really strange. Now this is interesting. Let me just zoom in. Now I presume it's something to do with either this chip here or this chip here. Now have a little look around here and what do you see? Where has that come from? Now, if a capacitor was missing, then it would probably still work. But if a resistor's missing, there's no path. Where's that come from? Now, maybe when I was heating up the other side of the board, that this came off somewhere, but I think it's unlikely. That could be the culprit. So, let's, you know, the pick and place machine just might not have put this on. And when it was tested, I presume they're only going to test it for a few minutes. It's not going to sit there for 10 minutes testing it, are they? So zoom out and see if we can get a reading off this one here. Maybe this is why it's not working. But where's it going to go? I haven't got another one to compare. There's loads of unpopulated pads. Right, 18,000 ohms. So if I lose it now, we know we can put in an 18,000 ohms. Let's have a good look on a microscope and see if we can see anything that's missing a pad. Now this thing just keeps on teasing me. We found the resistor. We know if a resistor's missing, there's no path through. So maybe it records for 10 minutes where you can do your rewind feature, and then it rewrites over that 10 minutes again, a bit like your dash cam. When the memory's full, it goes back to the beginning and starts writing all over again, and then when it's filled up the half an hour, the hour, the 2 days, however big your memory card is, it goes back to the beginning and writes it again. I presume that's what's happening here, because it wouldn't be able to save days and days and days worth of gameplay. It's only going to save, as far as the instructions is concerned, 7 seconds, but I've seen that it saves way more than that, way more than that. It seemed like I was rewinding for 45 seconds and it still seemed to be going back. So it keeps getting my hopes up, but I've looked everywhere on this board. Annoyingly, there's loads of unpopulated pads, which makes it much harder, but every unpopulated pad has a mound of solder on, and if the resistor was part of this board, there should be a pad which is half a mound of solder and half empty where the resistor was in place. Again, if I had another working board, I could look at every single component. I'd be like, oh, there's a resistor missing next to this chip here. But I haven't got that luxury, so I'm just trying to find evidence of where the resistor might have been placed. There's a chance that this resistor is pinged off my mat or the microscope or somewhere else. I'm always having components ping off everywhere. It's very believable that a component pinged off and balanced on top of the microscope, and when I wasn't looking, I knocked it and it fell onto this board here. I can't say with certainty that this resistor is from this board, but it does seem to be the right size. Anyway, I look all around the board, and I only see one pad which doesn't have a mound of solder. Annoyingly, my 18K resistor goes flinging off somewhere, again like countless other components in my life, so I get myself another 18K resistor. It's a bit bigger, but I put it in the place next to the NAND that I see that one of the pads is missing. So here you'll see me just trying to solder it into place. It's way too big for the pads, but if it works, I'll put the proper resistor in. While I'm doing this, I'll shout out to my mate Vince Massive. The members this month are Keymon Services, Kip Hakes on YouTube, Max Rokotansky, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, DJ VG, Pigsy, Anthony Dean, Russ Mellinson, Rickard Bergland, Shamsa Al Sawadi, Stuart Park, Stephen from the Broken Past on YouTube, Lee Benz, AJ Computer Services UK, Chris Bayans, and Victor B. So massive thanks to each and every one of you. A couple of new members this month, which is lovely to see. Right, so I solder this resistor into place. Do you think it's going to work? The answer is no. It's exactly the same as it was before. So let's pick up the video when I'm in the other room after I've just tested it. And it's another failure. It still freezes after 10 minutes and 6 seconds. Right, annoyingly, it hasn't made any difference, but I looked at the pinout for this. This chip here is a NAND, and where I've put it is an NC, a no connect, so it's not, there's loads of no connects on here. I've gone across a couple of the write and also read pins or something, and they are going to capacitors. Now, this one here is the DRAM, and apparently the DRAM is the thing that's responsible, oh no, this is AI, but that's responsible for the rewind feature. But around here, I can see that everything's populated. But that is where we found the little resistor, wasn't it? Unless, of course, one of the capacitors has accidentally been put on when the resistor should have been put on. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it looks like this is responsible. But this might be working. Maybe it's not being told to do what it needs to do from this chip here. As far as I can see, I can't find any other places where that resistor might go. It could just be a leftover resistor. You know, it might have been from when Dave was looking at it, or it could be from the factory when it was being made. Maybe a resistor just sat here. It might have fallen off something else and just sat on here. So I think I have to give up on that little resistor thing because there's just so many things that's unpopulated around the place, but I can't see anything where it could possibly be. Anyway, I'm wondering now, is it something to do with this here? But you can see there's nothing unpopulated. I think I'm going to reflow this because the balls are very big under here. They would be like here, 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 here. So it's not going to be a nightmare to do. You can see them here. I'm going to reflow it. So I'm going to put flux around it. And we'll give it a go. If you have a look here, you can see that most of these go straight underneath to here. So I presume apart from the power, most of them are going to go under. Unless there's a slim chance it's not getting power. Let's try a reflow first. Now actually that's a bit silly, I should check to see if it's getting power first, shouldn't I? Well, I'm going to plug it back in. We'll see if there's anything on these big capacitors at the corners. See, maybe that DRAM is purely for the rewind feature and nothing else. Right, I'm going to turn it on. And let's see if we have any voltage around these here. There you go, there's 1.5 volts there. I suppose the thing is, if it's recording for 10 minutes, maybe that goes on here, but it's just not resetting itself.
She's not dead.
Yeah, there's definitely 1.5 volts, and that sort of seems like the kind of voltage that would be on that. I'm going to reflow it. Shock horror, Vince, what you doing? It's desperation. I really don't know what's wrong with this, so I'm thinking that maybe one of the balls underneath here has not made a good contact. Maybe there's a bit of a cold solder joint or something like that. So I reflow it. I do hate reflowing ball grid arrays because there's such a high chance of the balls touching each other when you go to do the nudge test to see if it has actually reflowed. But luckily with this one here, this DRAM, the balls would be quite far apart from each other, so I really would have to twitch pretty hard to get them to touch together. Anyway, watch this now. Applying loads and loads of heat, and then you will actually see when I put my airflow up full, you will see the chip dancing around on top. So look at this bit here now. There we go, I can see it moving, look at that, leave it at that. Did you see that? Right, I'm not going to touch that, I'm just going to leave that solidify. Do you think it made any difference? 10 more seconds. Let me give it a quick rewind. And it should be freezing in 2 seconds. Boom, 10:06, frozen. Oh, you git. Right, okay. I think I've lost interest. I am going to reflow the big main chip, the monkey boy, and see what happens. Now this is much harder to reflow. It took absolutely ages, and also the balls are much closer together. But anyway, after putting the heat on it for a good 3 or 4 minutes, eventually you can see now that when I twitch it with my tweezers, it does actually move, which means that the balls have all gone molten. And then I try it again. Do you think it works? The answer is no. But I haven't made it any worse. It still does exactly the same as it does before. It works for 10 minutes and 6 seconds. So I have done as much as I can possibly do with this. If I had another working one, I could do diode test on every single leg of all the exposed chips and resistors, and it may show something up. But you know what? I don't think it would, and that's the reason I'm not buying another one. I need help on this one here, and I'm going to look at the comment section. Hopefully the community can fix this one, and we can look back and we can do a revisit video. If it's software related, explain to me how it would be like this. If there was a bug in the software where there's one line of code that doesn't tell it to repeat itself, to rewrite itself after 10 minutes, then why does it not affect thousands of these, tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of these worldwide? So when this left the factory, it must have been working from a software point of view. Otherwise, the same software would be put on thousands of these. The internet says it's a hardware problem, and I think it's a hardware problem. The only way it could be a software problem is if somebody's previously messed with the software. But as far as I can see, all the games on this look like the games from the box, and it doesn't look like there's additional games on here. It doesn't come with another SD card with a load more games. I think this is honest. I don't think anybody's tampered with this. So it's just a case of something's happened where it's not rewriting itself after 10 minutes. That's what I'm taking from this, but I really don't know. Maybe there is some resistor somewhere that I've missed, but I've spent ages on this. I've gone across all the resistors on this, and they're all looking to be okay. They're all kind of like 10,000 ohms, 4,700 ohms, 100,000 ohms. There was one that was 0.4 meg ohms, so like 400,000 ohms. Well, it was more than that, 450 something, and it kept climbing. I actually took it out of circuit to measure it out of circuit, and it was still measuring that out of circuit. Yes, maybe it should be 10 ohms. I don't know. I've got nothing to compare to, but it was reading the same out of circuit as in circuit, so I presume that's okay, because sometimes what happens is you read a resistor which is meg ohms, take it out of circuit and it's completely open. It's the board that has the resistance of the meg ohms. So whenever I see resistors that are meg ohms, sometimes I take them out of circuit just to measure them, to make sure that that's not the board that I'm reading, it is the actual resistor. I cannot find anything wrong with this whatsoever. So let's finish up the video now, me showing you it working one more time, and I'm going to show you it cutting off dead on 10 minutes and 6 seconds. And please, 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 if you know the answer to this, put it down in the comment section, because I have been on this all day long. This video is so heavily edited, and that's why the video is so hard to watch. I did so many things, and it really would, even if it was heavily edited, still be a 2-hour long video. So I've saved you all from the torment of having 2 hours of me just doing things over and over and trying this, that and the other. But honestly, I tried so many things on this here, and I've got nothing left to try. Right, what I've done is I've tried a different power supply. It's plugged straight into, you know, a phone charger now, and it's a shorter lead. But I know that's not what it's not going to make a difference. Right, 8 minutes 28 seconds. This time, because I was more prepared, I started this and this at the exact same time. So we're going to find out, you know, to the second where it cuts out, just in case that makes a difference. So this is Snail Maze. Who remembers that as the hidden game on the Sega Master System? 8 minutes 45 here. Let's see if I have time to quickly complete this. I have already done this one, so I should know where I'm going. What's weird is when you go onto something like this, it brings back memories, and you kind of muscle memory in a way to where you did it as a child. To get to this game, you had to do a secret... I've gone the wrong way. You have to do a secret combination of buttons. I've got to keep my eye on the time. Have I got time to do this? 9 minutes 20. Come on. Yes. I've just worked out the way to do it anyway, is you run out of time, but go from the goal and then go backwards, because you know that's where you have to end up. So if you go backwards, then you can follow it that way. But obviously you can't do it in the time, but on the game after you can. Right, here we go. You can hear the music. So if it was a problem with DRAM, why is it even saving the first 10 minutes? You think it would just fail straight away. Here we go. Should be crashing now. There you go. So 10 minutes and 5 seconds. And that's it. It has crashed. Please, please, please help me in the comment section back down below. Apologies, I'm really not happy with this video, but it is what it is. I've spent all day on it. I don't think it's that watchable, but I think the fault is so interesting that I think it really does warrant the video still. But I've got a feeling the comment section will be very interesting. So read all the comments, and you'll probably find then that there's going to be a lot of knowledgeable people chiming in, and fingers crossed we can get this on a revisit video. If you did enjoy it, you probably didn't, but if you did, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, I've got my Advent series starting on the 1st of December. 24 videos in 24 days. I've bought a massive Amazon pallet, over 300 kilograms, and I'm going to do my best to work my way through those items. So yeah, apologies about this one. Massive thanks to Dave for sending this and the other 2 items. All 3 items look very interesting. So hopefully you see the other 2 items in a future video down the road. Oh, this really has beaten me. I'm so upset, but I'm hoping the comment section can sort it out. Thanks for watching.